And here we go. This is the Razer TSL round of 4. We have Draco against NoNy. We have NoNy in the top right with Protoss, Draco in the bottom right with Protoss, and Draco a comfortable lead, 1-0 against NoNy. He's got to be feeling a lot less pressure, a lot more confidence this game, and it is on Wuthering Heights. So, as we said, this is a good map for NoNy, and the pressure is on him. So it's really important that this is the second map after losing that first important game on Othello.
Yeah, I'm a little curious to see if NoNy was perhaps a little bit nervous in the first game, because a problem a lot of players have in tournaments is just that first initial game where you just have too much time to think and there's not that much time to do and get in the zone. Because we did see NoNy lose 3 shuttles with Reavers. He lost a grand total of 5 Reavers in shuttles without doing too much, and that's just such a significant of a mistake. I just can't imagine that NoNy does that on a regular basis.
And we see once again Draco scouting right away. He loves to scout so fast. I mean, every game that we have seen him, he scouts much, much faster than his opponent. And, you know, I guess it's paying off because once he gets into the mid and late game, as we saw last time, he is just about flawless. I mean, every single move he makes is so well thought out, and his mechanics, his macro, his timing, it's all just done so well. So, you know, he doesn't mind losing those few extra minerals. And NoNy passes the probe on its way in, does not see the angle it's coming from, and NoNy is scouting in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, Draco in NoNy's base. So, you know, a little bit of an advantage here from Draco.
Yeah, already a clear map hack by Draco, for sending his first probe immediately to NoNy's base and somehow forcing NoNy to scout in the absolute wrong direction initially. And again, it's just a lot of little things that Draco does that just make him such an exceptional player. We see this little bit of probe harass going on in the main that's so key. And we even see this first pylon that Draco made is touching his main nexus. Anytime that pylon is really closed in towards your main, that's oftentimes a key sign that you just want to avoid some sort of cheese by keeping your buildings tight. So clearly... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, you know, Draco, he definitely wants to avoid cheese. He just showed, you know, NoNy being one of the very best mechanics players. Draco doesn't even care about that. He doesn't want to lose early. He wants to get into that late game.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we both see a mirror go on for both players. Both of them throwing down their cybernetics core. Both players get out that first zealot and are now chasing around their respective scouting probes. And just like Artosis mentioned at the start, it's so key to keep that probe alive for as long as possible because there's so many branches that occur after you get that cybernetics core up. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of fast Dark Templar opening because that would favor a player a lot on this sort of map. You get the Dark Templar out, you put a little bit of pressure on your opponent early on, and then you have the opportunity to take that expansion really early. So, I mean, that sort of DT opening I really like on this map a lot because, again, you need to have a solid amount of units to be able to defend and take that third expansion.
That's true, actually. You know, Cloud opened up with DT here against JF, if I recall correctly, and, you know, that extra pressure, he killed a lot of probes. It was just very nice. The JF, more of a standard Reaver-type player, just wasn't ready for it. So, you know, seeing a build like that would not be too surprising here, but, you know, both of these players are, you know, such straight-up good players. Also, it wouldn't be too odd to see more normal safety builds such as Observer. And we see here NoNy is going for that Robo, which Draco does see with the probe. Very nice there to catch a glimpse of it before his probe dies. And meanwhile, the other probe sees the double gate in Draco's base. Or rather, yeah, Draco's base. So, you know, they both see what each other are doing. It looks like the same openings as last game.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Draco's going to do when he gets his first set of 200 minerals, whether he's going to throw down a Citadel or a Robo Bay. I'm still really liking that DT opening. We still don't see anything go down yet for Draco. And no, he might just be going for an expansion. I'm still looking around in Draco's base and I don't see anything going on except more Dragoon production. We do see that Robo Bay is now finished for NoNy as he's throwing out his first shuttle. And it looks like Draco's going to move in to put out a little bit of pressure on his opponent.
You know, I wouldn't be too surprised if Draco wants to do just a heavy pressure Mass-Goon build here. You know, with this little choke and it being all flat ground with the Dragoon advantage, if he micros right, you know, he could really put a lot of pressure on NoNy here. NoNy's spending those extra minerals on the quicker shuttle, the quicker robo. Draco may be able to do some damage once his extra goons get up here.
Yeah, and that's a key subtle difference between what both of these players are doing right now. That 2-gate by Draco is going to allow him to just be a little bit better about the map control in this game over his opponent NoNy. Although NoNy is being very safe and getting out this Observer and then getting this Reaver, we can just clearly see that Draco is starting to slowly pull ahead in food. He's getting that 3rd gateway down, that Robo is coming out as well, and right now Draco has a nice little positional advantage with those Dragoons.
Yeah, we see NoNy right now. He can't really bust out of this choke too easily because of, you know, the nice concave that Draco can take over here. And as Draco's supply goes up and his units go up, if he can keep a decent position against NoNy, he's going to be able to expand or trick NoNy into coming out into some sort of trap. So, you know, Draco, he's showing a lot of aggression this game, whereas last game he played more passively. Really nice switch up by him.
Yeah, I think this is a good transition that Draco is making into this 3-gate, whether he decides to stick with Observers. Oh, no, we do see that Robo Bay going down right now. This is just a really solid opening by Draco. That 2-gateway opening allowed him to put a little bit of pressure on his opponent, and now he's transitioning into Reavers to just get a much stronger overall unit mix. But we do see that first Reaver out for NoNy, creeping behind those Dragoons, perhaps getting ready for the first shot after those Scarabs finish. One Scarab is done for NoNy right now, and a tense moment right now as Draco is looking to keep NoNy contained for as long as possible till Draco's own Dragoon does manage to get out. Draco sitting at 61 food, NoNy sitting at 56, and the first Reaver's moving up, and Draco manages to pull it away. That is exceptional focus by Draco to be watching that entrance that closely.
Draco's definitely watching everywhere right now. That is impressive, I tell you. That Reaver has long range, and the second it moved, he just pulled back those units. So NoNy is in a very tough position here. How do you hurt Draco? I mean, if you get that Reaver too far up, he's going to run in and snap it off. So NoNy extremely trapped in his choke right now, and Draco pulling ahead supply-wise. He's almost up to 7. And NoNy looks like he's going to be coming out, and with the Reaver, he's trying to get out with those goons, and that was a really nice move there by NoNy. He gets right out right away, and Draco just withdraws immediately despite the supply advantage.
Not a half-second delay did Draco take just before he left that immediately. The instant he saw those Dragoons take 2 steps out and a shuttle beautifully positioned right by that right by that Vespene Geyser, it was just a terrible spot for Draco. He couldn't pinch and kill off any of the Reavers, and now we see NoNy making an aggressive push. This is the whole timing behind NoNy's build, is this aggressive, well-timed push. So there's a Reaver in that shuttle. Wonder how long that's going to live. And then we see the 2 Reavers moving forward. Great shots, taking out... Oh my god, the shuttle goes down, and the Reaver in red health, taking out both Reavers. Draco's Reaver is still alive, but NoNy has so many more Dragoons. Draco's going to have to control this absolutely perfectly and get those reinforcements up. But the shuttle is going to go down. That Reaver is just a sitting duck in the middle there. And now it's just a handful of Dragoon versus Dragoon action. And it looks like NoNy is going to be able to bust right into Draco's front. And Draco again is going to have to cancel his first attempt at his natural expansion.
And their supply is actually pretty even right now. NoNy's expansion is going up. And look at this, NoNy pushing right inside. He's going to take out these 2 Dragoons. And if he keeps this pressure on, Draco is going to die. Because look at this, 3 more Dragoons coming in for NoNy. This is going to be 6 Dragoons with just rallies coming out. So these Dragoons coming out are just going to be pummeled by the NoNy Dragoons. And out come the probes. That is not a good sign at all. And look at this, a nice surround by the probes. Looks like he's holding them in position, bringing up that 1 Dragoon. These NoNy Dragoons are already damaged, so this is pretty good. Look at this, they are trapped in there. Nice building setup, and it looks like these drones are going to kill the Dragoons. I knew probes were good, but I did not know they were that good. But look at this, a lot of probes going down there. NoNy doing a lot of damage with this. Look at these kills on these Dragoons. We have 3, we have 7, we have 4. That is wild. And look at this, more Dragoons pouring in. 1 Reaver, 3 Dragoons, 4 Draco in his main base, and NoNy is just, he is playing very well right now. Draco is down to 39 supply against the 53 of NoNy, and the Reaver comes up, nice scare, kills 2 Dragoons right off a bunch of Hercules here. Another Dragoon goes down, and it looks like there will be 1 Dragoon left over with 1 Reaver, and Draco looks like he didn't have to cancel that Nexus, so he will have this expansion up if he does stabilize, which it looks like he will in fact do.
And oh no, NoNy! Oh no, losing the shuttle again, and yet another Reaver isolated out in the middle of nowhere. NoNy's eyes got a little bit too big. He moved towards that expansion just a tad too aggressively and tried to take the win immediately. And I feel a little bit like NoNy had an advantage and tossed it away a little bit by becoming too aggressive. You clearly saw that in NoNy's build, it was all built around that mid-game push once he got 2 Reavers. And what was so brilliant about it is that it transitioned very smoothly into a quick expansion. NoNy didn't add too many more gateways, he just stuck with the 2 gateways in the robotics facility and then took the expansion as that push was coming out. And that's really a subtlety that's important about the build, is what makes it so strong, is that even if that push does not work, it puts pressure on Draco, delays Draco's expansion, and then allows NoNy to get an expansion for himself. But I feel like once that push started to work really, really well for NoNy, I think it would have been in NoNy's benefit to just kill off that warping Nexus and then go ahead and contain Draco. Yeah, sure, maybe go for the kill if you want, but I think it was a little bit too aggressive and too hasty of a move to try to take Draco out immediately, because we saw that NoNy all of a sudden, with a 20 food advantage, lost those 4 Dragoons to the Reaver, and then came in with a lone speed shuttle with a Reaver, and ended up losing that as well. And now we see that Draco is very much so back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it looked for a moment like NoNy may in fact kill Draco, but Draco, with that nice probe surround, you know, probes are deadly. You got to watch out even with Dragoons, and the supplies are just so even now. It's really quite surprising, especially after Draco losing so many of those probes while trying to kill off goons with them. And it looks like NoNy is getting ready for another offensive. He's bringing his goons down. He has 2 Reavers in that shuttle. Hopefully he will not be losing that shuttle and Reavers this time. And meanwhile, Draco, he does have 1 Reaver on the ground, another one coming up, but will it be there in time? I'm not too sure. If NoNy presses immediately, his Reaver advantage may work out quite well here, and he drops off those Reavers. It looks like he's getting them into position. He wants to get a nice double shot off on these clumped goons, and look at this. He's just inching in, and here he goes, and he gets a shot off, but it's not that good. And oh, look at this, another Reaver shot going off. Just a little bit thrust and parry here. It looks like he does not want to overcommit. Draco has a very nice layout there. He now has both his Reavers up there, so it would be not too cost efficient to try to break Draco right now.
Yeah, this is such a tense moment for both players. NoNy's sitting right outside Draco's front. Draco's contained behind this relatively small choke. If it were a lot wider, Draco would be in a much more comfortable position. However, Draco's right up against the wall. And I mean, especially after you had that sort of intense, near-game-losing experience at the start of the game, Draco probably is feeling just a little bit shaken up at NoNy's relentless aggression. At the same time, though, I'm starting to think that this sort of aggression is maybe a little too dangerous for NoNy, because NoNy did get a big advantage early, but he kind of lost that advantage. So by now trying to move out again and get aggressive and get in NoNy's face again, I'm worried that NoNy's convinced he has more of an advantage than he actually does.
That's so true. You know, he doesn't really have an advantage. Right now he's adding his 4th and 5th gate. Meanwhile, Draco adding his 5th gate as well. And here we go, a nice attack going in. NoNy is trying to finish off Draco here. Draco without his Reavers on the ground. Extra shots out of NoNy's Reavers. But Draco targets them and kills both Reavers and saves both his Reavers. That was very nice by Draco there. And Draco's going to be able to push this back. And NoNy is losing a lot of Dragoons here, and the Reavers just pounding onto them. That was just beautiful. Sick micro there by Draco with his Reavers. But another Reaver coming down 2 flank. Looks like it will drop pretty quickly, but quite a few Dragoons on the side. Oh, and Draco, he still has both his Reavers. Draco does not lose Reavers. That was just brilliant play there by him. And NoNy being a little bit too aggressive here. He's going back in with Dragoons. He has about the same amount of units as Draco, but Draco with those Reavers and a few Speed Zealots now. So NoNy smartly runs away here. That may be a very bad move there from NoNy. Draco may in fact be ahead at this point. He is up by about 7 supply now. And as we said in the previous game, you know, after an army battle like that, you pump some extra speed zealots to get aggressive, and that is exactly what we see Draco doing here. He's moving up the right side of the map with his units, and, well, maybe not. But, yeah, Draco looks like he may in fact even be in the lead now.
Yeah, Draco making a really brilliant transition into the mid-game. He's transitioning his army from a more Dragoon Reaver army to a more Zealot Templar army, which is a lot more large space friendly. And again, that's a really important factor in becoming a very good player, is making smooth transitions from the early game to the mid-game to the late game to make sure that you both don't die throughout the whole game, and also to be able to put pressure on your opponent throughout. So we see that by transitioning to this Templar Zealot army, he's taking advantage of the open map, and because it's a little bit less mineral intensive, he now has a few more minerals to take that expansion at the bottom. So again, really, really great overall decision making by Draco, and obviously excellent control, taking out both of NoNy's Reavers once again without losing any of his own.
And you know, with the amount of units we see NoNy pumping out here, he's getting quite a large army, almost purely Dragoon, a few Reavers mixed in here and there. And, you know, with this large of an army before taking a third base, I'm thinking that NoNy is going to want to kill Draco just off of 2 bases here. But Draco, he has a very mobile army right now, so you know, I'm not sure that NoNy can really outmaneuver him at this point, but, you know, this extra Dragoon contingent against these Speed Zealots could really prove to work out for him. You know, these Speed Zealots are going to just melt once NoNy gets a few extra Reavers going.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we saw in the first game. Draco had an advantage with resources and positioning, but NoNy again has excellent decision making when it comes to his unit composition. We saw NoNy last game be behind almost all game long and still managed to bust that cannon heavy front. And right now we see Draco's unit mix, which is heavily Zealot Templar with a handful of Dragoons with 2 Reavers up against a massive Dragoon Reaver army for NoNy. And NoNy has those 2 Reavers out. If they can burn up those Zealots, that'll be key. The storm goes down, the shuttle in red health. The 2 Dragoons unload, Dragoons firing, and Draco's Zealots burning up. And the Reaver shot, loses the shuttle again. But somehow, NoNy manages to just absolutely decimate Draco's army. The shuttle goes down, there's virtually no more units left over. The Archon's going to be killed before it's done morphing, and with those just 3 Zealots left over, there's going to be nothing that Draco can do against this onslaught of NoNy's units. NoNy's now at 82 food. And you know, that Zealot Templar choice is great if you have enough Zealots. I think Draco got a little too overeager and kind of took that advantage a little bit too to the extreme. And here we see NoNy moving down the middle of the map in such an intense back and forth game. Those 2 Templar both at 90 food, 2 Storms getting ready. The first Storm excellent on those 4 Dragoons and 3 more in the way, and the Zealots doing a significant amount of damage. And even 1 Dark Templar coming out, and no observers anywhere in sight for NoNy. Oh, there's one.
The observer does come down, and NoNy's attack looking quite strong right now, just picking off the few units being rallied out of Draco's gates. And NoNy's choice of just mass Dragoon is really paying off for him here. He's being able to out-micro these Archons and Zealots that are popping out of Draco's gateways. In the meantime, more DTs coming out. Those do 40 damage. Doesn't matter if you see them or not, they still do 40 damage. And NoNy having to retreat a little bit right here. But Draco, he does have the better economy. He has that 6 o'clock mineral-only expansion going. Meanwhile, NoNy looks like he may be taking the top left natural. He looks like he wants the more mineral patches and the gas. Maybe a smarter base to take. Very hard for Draco to get over there and get aggressive with it. And once again, Draco pulls ahead in the supply. Draco is just, I'm not sure how he does it. His economy is just so tight. He just keeps on producing and producing. Even though losing all those probes early, he's able to afford more and more than NoNy. And we just see some extremely high-level play going back and forth here.
Yeah, and those extremely small numbers, the Zealot Templar really shines. That's exactly what we saw down at Draco's expansion. When NoNy moved in to try to get that kill, just a handful of Zealots, the 6 or 7 Zealots and those 2 well-placed Storms is more than enough to take out those 7 or 8 Dragoons. And what's nice about a Dragoon Reaver army is it's a good one-punch, strong push sort of army. But that Zealot Templar army is so flexible and so aggressive that even when you're up against the wall, it can shine through and you can really end up taking back the game. and we do see that natural expansion getting finished up for NoNy. And again, a really key point to make, NoNy is becoming more aggressive with his units the closer his expansion is to being finished. The best way to defend an expansion is to be aggressive and be in your opponent's face to the point where they feel obligated to deal with your units instead of deal with the expansion.
Yeah, but NoNy better be careful now because Draco is about 30 supply up, just as we saw in that first game. And look at Draco's army here. This is getting a little bit scary. He's got another Reaver now. He's got several High Templars with it. He's got those Speed Zealots that you've been talking about. And meanwhile, he's taking the bottom left main. So Draco, he's just staying on top of NoNy economically. And look at this. It looks like he may be attacking towards the top left. If he gets there without NoNy realizing it, then that expansion will fall extremely quickly with nothing NoNy can do. And NoNy, it looks like he has caught some wind of what's going on here. He's moving his army out. But Draco,
and on the right side of the map, we see a Storm Drop moving into Draco's natural. The Templars unload. The probes are not moving at all. And he forgot Storm! What? Oh my god. We see Storm just now researching for NoNy. And the expansion for NoNy is going to fall. Oh my gosh. If you click on that Templar Archives in the top right of the map, you'll see the Storm for NoNy just now beginning. What a terrible life for a Templar to just give a high five to all of Draco's probes and then to have to go home again.
Yeah, that is painful. NoNy has to be kicking himself right now. He had a beautiful position there to kill a lot of probes, and it just did not work out for him. Draco is just pulling further and further ahead here. He's up at 150 to 100 of NoNy. That's 50% more. that is wild. In a mirror matchup like PvP, I do not know if NoNy can come back from something like that. In the meantime, Draco's army is just looking to be a very nice mix. He's keeping a lot of Speed Zealots because of this mineral-only base. You know, he's got the extra inflow of minerals, you know, a little bit less gas than he would want. And also, you know, he's still mixing the Reavers, still mixing some High Templars and some Dragoons. So, his army composition is looking pretty strong, and we see NoNy. He knows that he's in a bad position here. He's moving towards the center of the map. I think he's probably just going to wait for Psystorm. There we go. It just finished now. So he is ready. He knows he's got to make something happen. Draco is pulling further and further ahead, and here we go. Looks like he's moving down towards the bottom right of the map where Draco's natural is, and Draco's spreading out his units very well. Looks like NoNy may walk into a flank here. Draco looks like he will have a lot of surface area with his units all positioned to the left. And here we go. Psystorm going off. Oh, a lot of Psystorms going off. NoNy has him saved up because he wanted Storm Drop early but could not. And wow, look at this. Draco's army just melting under these storms. But oh, nice storms by Draco here. He's getting all these Dragoons, just ripping the shields off of him. His Zealots running in, just peeling them off. And NoNy, GG's. Draco goes up 2-0.
Unbelievable game. That was just exceptional. I mean, I really was liking Draco's build at the outset because he put a lot of pressure on. He was able to get that concave right outside NoNy's base, but NoNy had the timing of his build down just perfect to where he was able to come out with those 12 Dragoons and those 2 Reavers at just the right time. And then NoNy was able to push right into Draco's base and put a huge amount of pressure. But again, I just feel like that was a little bit over-eager by NoNy. I think that lack of experience really shone through in the first 2 games. I mean, just losing those shuttles with Reavers inside of it, forgetting the Storm then, and especially getting too over-eager when he busted Draco's front. That was the perfect opportunity for NoNy to kill off that expansion and to play a little bit more safe with an absolute 100% secured lead. I think that was a much safer play, but then by accidentally losing those handful of units outside Draco's base, he made it an even game again.
Well, you are right on there. And what's going to come into play now on the third map of Blue Storm is the psychological factor, because down 0-2, that last game he has to know he had it a couple times there. He got into very good positions and just made a few mistakes there. So, you know, that's going to really come into play with NoNy feeling quite stressed out. You know, he's playing for at least $1,500 here. You know, maybe even more. It goes right up to at least $2,000 if he wins this match, and he is down 0-2 against the pro gamer Draco. So, you know, it's a very hard position for him. And the next map we're going to be playing on is going to be Blue Storm. Blue Storm, of course, this map, it always plays out the same early on in PvP. We always see, you know, the 2-gate Zealot into the expanding, and then it starts to differentiate a little bit. You know, that little choke, it stops them from going around with Dragoons, really. You know, if you try to go Dragoons early on this map, it's a very long walk, and by the time you get there, they will have so many Zealots, they won't even care that, you know, it's Zealot versus Dragoon. So, of course, Zealots being very powerful, especially in the early game here. Probably won't see much pressure, you know, just making a few Zealots, maybe send your first 1 or 2, try to kill some probes, that type of thing. But, you know, into the later game, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, who makes the higher contingent of the speed Zealots. And, you know, because you can really rally those right through. They run right through that crack. They can reinforce your battles very quickly.
Yeah, and I do want to take a little bit of extra time just to discuss this map, Blue Storm, because frankly I think it's probably the most interesting map in this map pool, or at least my favorite. As Artosis was describing, the dynamic changes of this map throughout the game. You can put a little bit of pressure on your opponents early on with that sort of Zealot harass, because you can squeeze through that middle area. But if you go for that Dragoon Reaver army that we've definitely seen that NoNy and Draco like a lot, you're in a much more roundabout route. And it's oftentimes a lot more difficult to be as aggressive as you'd like. In fact, a few weeks ago in one of the OGN Star League games, we saw Best Hyo against Much on this map, and Best was just having incredible macro, was ahead of Much in food, but Much had a much more aggressive unit composition with Zealots and was able to just surround, flank, and kill Best's massive army and end up winning the game. And it was just a remarkable demonstration about how that subtle change in unit composition in the later stages of the game can be so critical. And also something that I think is very interesting is how to secure your third and fourth expansions. In particular, the southern and northern expansions are really crucial in this map. For example, if you watched Bisu vs. Jaedong on this map, where Bisu spawned at Bisu was able to take the southern expansion, and you know, I know that Jaedong plays Zerg, but I mean, still the idea is that you can take that southern expansion that's touching your main, or the northern expansion if you're starting position, and defend it really easily, because that choke is so tight, and just throwing a few Reavers behind cannons can be such an essential, easy way to defend that expansion. So there's just a lot of opportunities for different sorts of early to mid-game openings, with a really nice transition into an aggressive mid-game. I'm really interested to see how NoNy and Draco are going to be able to play this map.
And another interesting thing to point out, actually, is that this is NoNy's favorite map in the map pool. He's had a lot of experience with it, playing on iCup with Koreans and whatnot. So, you know, if there's a time for NoNy to win, it's definitely now, because, well, if he doesn't, he's out. And it is his favorite map. So best of luck to NoNy. Let's see what happens. Let's go, Hopid.